Now don't tune out, because what's old is new again. This clip takes on new relevance right now.
And I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
So he was using the loan guarantee. In other words, if you don't cooperate, you don't change your structure of government, this loan may not come through you, okay? We might have a problem. It was Biden's words. You remember the clip? So famous now, isn't it? I'm going to put it in context of exactly how that plays into today, and then expand onto a much larger story of someone messed up. Someone let something out they shouldn't have. Sensitive intelligence would be an understatement, and they put themselves directly in Trump's path. And hell hath no fury like a Don scorn, and I'll cover that here in just 1 minute. First, I'd like to apologize for missing you yesterday. However, my cable service decided it wasn't going to cooperate. These videos and the way we film them are rather large, and that requires an active internet service, which we did not have early in the morning when I do these. So again, I apologize for missing you yesterday, but man, I couldn't wait to bring you so many of the stories you're about to see. And then this one takes shape. You see it in front of you? USAID and that clip from Biden. That loan guarantee, if you don't cooperate, change the structure of your government more compliant with what we want, then that loan guarantee won't come through. Where'd that loan guarantee come from? USAID announces U.S. issuance of $1 billion loan guarantee to the government of Ukraine. What goes around comes around.
I agree with you. To be fair, with all due respect, one doesn't have to be brilliant to attempt a coup.
I disagree with that. As somebody who has helped plan coup d'etat, not here, but other places.
As someone who plans coup d'etat, so this is how they were using funding from USAID to change and expand their version of democracy, counter to what I would believe would be the U.S. Constitution. And now millions on top of billions on top of billions are starting to see the same thing. USAID now has been limited. I love that this is their website. I'm about to cover exactly the cuts that have been made. 14,000 people down to 294. This is the biggest maneuver against what Trump used to call the swamp, some call the deep state, that has been made in U.S. history. There's no understating that. So if you had to, and you were in the seat of government, and maybe, you like the rules, but you don't like the rules, but you want to support your vision of democracy on a global scale. I think I put that together well enough for you. And you couldn't exactly just go to Congress and ask for each one of the payments that you need to get out there. Then how would you do it? Well, there would be no better way, in anyone's opinion, but to create a company that could go ahead and do it for you. And they could assure all that funding goes to promote the initiatives that you believe in. So there'd be no better way to do it than help support those governments that agree with you. Or if there's another government that agrees with you, then you'd fund against the opposition. And well, so we have it, right? News agencies being taken down. You see, opposition. This is opposition. Opposition funding. Makes it pretty simple. To what countries exactly? Well, look what he just did. Look what Rubio just did. Bureau for Humanitarian Assistance maintains 70 program staff globally with 8 additional personnel in Washington, D.C. So we're going to trim that down to 78. Bureau for Global Health, we're going to trim it down to 77. Latin American and Caribbean, cuts deeply. Retain no program staff. Now the staff is only 8. Europe and Eurasia, staff of 10. Asia, staff of 8. Africa, total staff of 12. If you go back, you start to see how many people just got downsized. But do you see what they did? Management. Maintain all 75 staff here for internal stability and oversight. So now you slow down government. And government was never meant to be this big. Government was designed to be slow and small. By its very design, it wasn't to maneuver that quickly. It makes sure that they don't usurp, well, all our rights, our freedoms, our privileges. And when the government was as big and expansive as it was, and as hidden and non-transparent as it was able to move very quickly against the interest of we the people. Hence why we elected Donald J. Trump into office. Again, taking these big concepts and just scaling them down as fast as I can. And I know you're liking it because the channel is expanding rapidly. And thank you for that. Each and every one of you who chose to subscribe here, welcome home. Those of you who haven't yet, I hope you'll make the choice to subscribe today. It's a simple button below. Those who've joined to support me as members here, thank you so very much as I write back to you. It is truly the only way these messages keep coming. I'm going to start doing shorts because I don't like shorts. But for you, if there's breaking news, I'll do it in a short. And it will only go to my members here as my special thank you. And for those of you that don't have the means, I respect that. All I ask for is your comments and your likes. It means the world to me. And for those of you who've gone the extra mile and joined me and my wife at restrictedrepublic.com, thank you so much. It's a platform created with no commercials, no interruptions, no sponsors, beholden to no one but our audience. Daily news, featured news, exclusive news. Even this broadcast, I'm going to go a little bit longer to explain how Elon Musk is doing all this. It's very intriguing. You see, when you got a generation in government that can't keep up with anything but paperwork, man, it's pretty easy to overwhelm them. And that's exactly what they're doing. It's why the Democrats are going crazy, and I'll expand on that later. But for you that haven't joined over Restricted Republic, we want you there today. It truly is your one source for news. I know you support other folks, and that's great, but you can limit down the amount of notifications you get on a daily basis because we will cover everything that matters. Get there today, and thank you all for your continued support, your membership, your comments, your shares. It truly is helping this channel to expand. But now let's get back to our broadcast. So this USAID purge continues on. Don't worry, it's not the primary story, but it's an important one because you can tell by who overreacts. Liz Cheney overreacts. Mike Ben's here. Liz Cheney, who led Trump's impeachment and the mass imprisonment campaign against thousands of Trump supporters, was spawned out of USAID. A University of Chicago Law School graduate, Liz Cheney worked earlier in her career at the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, at a firm headed by Richard Armitage. Her post at the state involved democracy promotion. No, it is government building. Call it what it is. Anyone who disagreed with any of our initiatives or could have served as a strategic benefit to us, rather than imploring the true values of the Constitution, we went after this word democracy, and so we chose to restructure governments around the world to enforce the principles that those that were just voted out believed in. Plain and simple. It's what the agency was designed to do. Elon Musk coming out, of course, claiming, boy, Mike, that post is kind of interesting. Another passive-aggressive, just like Trump and myself are. And Liz Cheney, of course, being aggressive. Damn right, Elon, I'm proud of what America did to win the Cold War, defeat Soviet communism, and defend democracy. You'll all learn. I know you're learning why I hate that word so much. Our nation stood for freedom. You may be unfamiliar with that part of your history since you weren't yet an American citizen. Now, wait. Everybody stop. You see, I consider Liz Cheney a Democrat, always have, always will. There's no other way around it. But in that stance, then you would support all this immigration effort, right? But yet, I guess when it's not convenient for you, you'll call out someone for yet not being an American citizen, but defend everyone else on the other side. Wait, so there must be an agenda behind that. Has to be. Pretty clean cut, right? Someone else who partakes in USAID, I guess. Hillary Clinton's been called up by multiple people now. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, this on the New York Post, got into it with former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, telling her to sit this one out after she needles him for touting plans to bring in the Department of Government efficiency to upgrade air traffic control systems. But that's coming from Trump also, who says, by the way, my plane uses a different system and it's not from the United States. So you don't think there's going to be a change in our FAA system? Oh, you'd be sorely mistaken. He states, if you're lashing out to Hillary Clinton because DOJ is uncovering your family's obscene grifting via USAID, but I won't let you lie and distort facts. The FAA administrator announces he resigned over a month before Trump took office. Air traffic controllers were always exempt from Trump's civil service buyout. So please, before you state something, Hillary, rather than just being incendiary as always, please have your facts straight. If you think you're going to rebuild the FAA over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, well, you'd be sorely mistaken. It is going to take a lot longer than that. But it always goes back to this man. What is he doing behind the scenes? How is he doing it behind the scenes? How is he pulling out all this information? He's just one arm of Trump's apparatus. We still don't have the full apparatus built because they are doing everything in their power to attempt to suddenly slow down government. The Democrats, who did nothing but expand government at a breakneck pace, suddenly want to slow it down. Oh, isn't that convenient? Committee vote on Kash Patel's nomination to be FBI director delayed after Democrats object. And why? Oh, another air of hypocrisy comes out. Until Mr. Patel discloses the substance of his grand jury testimony, the committee should similarly draw the adverse inference that he has something to hide, that he invoked the Fifth Amendment because his testimony would show. So what you're stating there is because he states this information shouldn't come out, it's under grand jury seal, basically, and he doesn't want to jeopardize anything. You're calling him out for that. But on the same token, your judges are stating the FBI agents' information shouldn't come out. Kash Patel should, the FBI agents' identities shouldn't, although that's not what's in the information, mind you. So the judge halts or pauses the potential naming of agents, but that information isn't exactly correct. A fear of something happening is not sufficient even if the fear is a serious one. The judge. We do believe we've identified a pattern of and specific names as evidence of the level of risk of public threats. Ask for a break to consult with DOJ based on DOJ representation that the list is necessary for an internal review. And this is what the judge is basing her decision on. The names of all these agents are going to come out. We got to put a pause. We'll put them in great danger. However, the information is slightly different because they claimed the posting of names and photos of government employees involved in DEI programs also poses a threat and justifies keeping secret the names of the FBI employees. But even NBC conflicts with that information. I want to get you the straight facts here. A person directly familiar with the matter tells NBC News the FBI has turned over to the Justice Department, as ordered, a list of thousands of agents and other personnel involved in January 6 cases. But the person says the list does not include names. The agents were identified by a number, which is called a unique employee identifier. So I guess so much for the basis of that case. Trump is moving fast, and occasionally I'm sure he'll make a mistake, but they also know the ins and outs. Look who represents them. Look at everything that's happening. So much information being fed, and suddenly now you're going to declare the opposite of what position you've stood for years, you Democrats. Come on. They're moving faster than you, and you won't be able to keep up. Nancy Pelosi now hobbling along. Mitch McConnell falling downstairs. Chuck Schumer going crazy. You see, they can't keep up. Leads to the end of this. EPA puts 168 staffers on administrative leave because their function did not relate to the agency's statutory duties or grant work. It's right there. That was on Politico, who says we didn't take any money. We just allowed the government to buy subscriptions, which, in my opinion, would be taking money. Of course, they've been funding all my opposition. Isn't that phenomenal, huh? What an uphill battle. Not promoted by many of the tech titans because they disagreed with our opinion. And on top of that, to have political opposition journalists, small quotes, funded by the government. Where's my check? Maybe you guys can help me out. Of course, I wouldn't take it anyway. But that is the uphill battle the conservative news has faced and continues to face until this is all remedied. It's amazing. The day that Trump took office and everybody started to see what was going to happen, suddenly it's almost as if something got unlocked and the channel began to grow and get as many clicks as guys who are 20 times bigger than me. Isn't that incredible? Because this message wasn't allowed to be heard. Well, until now. And then USAID. We just talked about Biden, him talking about it. We talked about Cheney, her talking about it. We talked about Hillary and her being talked about. Who else is in that list? It's a man called George Soros, right? And I'm going to explain how this relates.
That U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents are currently carrying out an operation on the east side of town. The Santa Clara County Rapid Response Network, which is a community defense projecting system for immigrant communities against deportation threats. It first reported the activity on its platforms.
So what they're doing there is putting ICE agents' lives in danger. They're announcing where they're at, what they're doing, what time they're there. KCBS Radio. Who owns KCBS Radio, I wonder? George Soros. So now the FCC is investigating, and rightfully so. FCC, I'll come back to this clip, launches probe in Soros-backed radio station and revealed live locations of undercover ICE agents, putting him in great danger. And Holman, well, he had something to say about that.
Not only the officers, it puts the aliens at great risk because anything can happen when we take our eyes off the goal here. So we're addressing that immediately today. I'm addressing OPSEC today, Operation Security, how these leaks are happening. We've already identified how this operation got leaked. I'll deal with that today.
Think he's a little upset? His agents' lives are being put in danger. So who does he reach out to? Pam Bondi.
Sean, what they're doing is they are choosing illegal aliens over the safety and security of their own citizens and the men and women of law enforcement who are out there trying to protect their citizens. Not only did we sue today the city of Chicago, we sued the state of Illinois, we sued the mayor, we sued the governor, and we sued others. And let me be very clear, if you don't comply with federal law, you're going to be next.
I love this administration. She was such a great addition. They're not playing games anymore because it's putting people's lives in danger. I sued the city of Chicago. I sued Illinois, and I will continue to go for everyone who stands in the way. Both the state of Illinois and the largest city of law is barring cooperation, by the way, with all federal immigration enforcement, so that will now be contested in a court of law. State law does not currently grant state or local law enforcement authority the authority to enforce federal civil immigration laws. How is that even humanly possible? You ask yourself. Well, this is what our long arm of the government has worked for so many years to do. And now Pam Bondi will challenge it. But she doesn't stop there. Not even close. Bondi's directed the DOJ to pause all federal funding for sanctuary cities, all. Bondi has also directed DOJ to identify and evaluate all funding agreements with non-governmental organizations that provide support for illegal aliens. She is also directing litigation components of the Justice Department to investigate instances of jurisdictions that are impeding law enforcement and directing they be prosecuted when necessary. It all comes down to this beautiful little document that doesn't want to tune in right now. But she goes in great detail of everything that what she's starting to work on. From the Attorney General, February 5th of 2025. I wish I could have brought this to you yesterday, but I'm going to bring it to you today. I'm still upset about the internet. Weaponization. What is she reviewing? What is she examining? Weaponization by Special Counsel Jack Smith and his staff, who spent more than $50 million targeting President Trump. Federal cooperation with weaponization by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, their staffs, and other New York officials to target President Trump. the pursuit of improper investigation tactics and unethical prosecutions related to events on, at, or near the U.S. Capitol on January 6, and in bold, as distinct from good faith actions by federal employees. The January 20, it's number 4. The January 23rd memorandum in which the Federal Bureau of Investigation suggested that certain Catholic religious practices were affiliated with violent extremism and criminal activity. Number 5, prior Justice Department guidance, policy memorandum, and practices concerning the investigation of parents and school children who express sincere good faith concerns at those school board meetings. We're going to look into you also. Criminal prosecution under Freedom of Access to Clinical Entrances Act for nonviolent protest activity, and the retaliatory targeting, and in some instances, criminal prosecution of legitimate whistleblowers. And so the counter witch hunt is on, and Pam Bondi is bringing it to us, and I couldn't be happier. And to enforce it, Trump is right behind her.
To confront such weaponization and religious persecution, today I'm signing an executive order to make our Attorney General, who's a great person, she's going to be a great Attorney General, Pam Bondi, the head of a task force, brand new, to eradicate anti-Christian bias.
Period. Illegal persecution. Illegal targeting. It's all going to go. Every direction this man is heading in right now. I told you, full-time job to keep up with it, isn't it? And all those folks that worked against him, all those articles against him, all those journalists that I talked about earlier, all those working against us to assure our voices were silenced because they disagreed with our opinion, which was in line with the Constitution and we the people. Well, Trump orders key government agency to cancel all media contracts. Confirmed by DOJ, Treasury leadership verified that their New York Times contracts were canceled today. I can confirm that more than 8 million taxpayer dollars that are gone have now been pulled from Politico, the story that made all the headlines. So now will we start to get the truth? They're still trying to twist the facts. Carolyn Levitt had to come out. That 1% that only accepted the package to leave government, turns out it's actually 2%. It's not 20,000, it's 40,000, and the number continues to rise as they realize this apparatus is too big, it's too fast to keep up with. But now we got to worry about something larger, don't we? Tom Homan's plans have already been leaked, and Tom Homan's reacted to that. President Trump just had a plan leaked. Not confirming nor denying the information at this point in time, which they can't. It's too sensitive. But Tom Homan here. What's going to happen? Why are all these spy planes flying around the border of Mexico? Why are they running operations? Why is this happening? Why is one of U.S. Navy's nuclear-powered aircraft carriers spotted off the Mexican coast? Well, Tom Homan, he has something to say about that too now, doesn't he?
How are you going to utilize the military? You know, we know what the military can and can't do domestically, but in a scenario like this, how do you plan on using the military? Could they get involved in the violence if the cartels strike?
Yes, and we expect them to. But the Mexican...
Yes, and we expect them to. So cartels, you've been put on notice by Tom Homan. That's a man who doesn't really mince words. And if you just look off, just look off in the ocean real quick. Look off your coastline. You'll see them there. They're waiting. They're documenting. They're watching. The game is up. And then this comes out. Whoever released this will meet Trump's fury unlike any other. His most sensitive conflict right now, not public enemy number one. I've already told you that's China. But the conflict in Ukraine is his most sensitive, the one that he has to navigate the most carefully, the one he has to bring to an end as per his campaign commitment. Kyiv says we are very near to really ending this war by a just and lasting peace as Ukrainians react with horror to leaked report on pro-Russian website claiming to reveal Trump's plan for a ceasefire by Easter. Now, who released this plan? It's actually a very simple one. Again, not one that takes a whole lot of exploring, but has the most significant impact in the global geopolitical order. It comes amid growing horrors at reports of leaked plans for Ukraine that would see Trump try to force Ukrainian president, not duly elected anymore, never mind, state of emergency, can't hold an election, sorry, because I know my people will probably vote me out, to agree to a ceasefire with Russia by Easter. The unconfirmed plans reported by Ukrainian outlet Strana, which has been described as pro-Russian, are said to have been doing the rounds in political and diplomatic circles in Ukraine, and will include a ceasefire by April 20th that would freeze Russia's steady advance, a ban on Ukraine from joining NATO, and demand for Kyiv to accept Russian sovereignty on the land that they've now annexed. And the people go crazy. The EU will reportedly be asked to assist Ukraine in reconstruction efforts, which may cost as much as $486 billion, which does appear to be in line with what Trump has said. You haven't put in your fair share. So you don't think behind the scenes you might be negotiating for the EU to pay their fair share and rebuild Ukraine? This plan seems to align with a lot of what Trump has said, or hinted at, or his administration has hinted at. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has denied the existence of the ceasefire plans because now his people are really going to be pissed. But if confirmed, it would see Zelensky and Putin sharing a phone call within days before the warring pair meet either in late February or early March with who? That's right, Donald J. Trump. An official ceasefire declaration would then be made on April 20th. That seems pretty specific, huh? Ukrainians on social media are horrified with the alleged plans. One said on the proposal, so Western speed bumps placed along the border and Ukrainian surrenders, basically? I'll show you what they're talking about. No way in hell will Ukraine accept this BS plan. Zelensky's office has strenuously denied the legitimacy of the peace plans. Oh, they have a mess. So either Russia leaked this plan out, which Trump will be extremely upset about. He doesn't like when these things leak out. Or is it strategically leaked out by both? I want to see that in the comments below. This plan, should it have been let out? Will someone meet with Trump's fury? Or is this strategic? The head of the office of the President of Ukraine wrote on Telegram that they did not exist in reality. Are you so sure? It appears it's pretty close to reality. Ukraine banned from joining NATO and must declare neutrality. Make Ukraine Sweden, I guess. Ukraine withdraws from Kursk. That's not even a good example anymore. Kyiv accepts Russian sovereignty of annexed land. Frontline frozen in Eastern ceasefire. European and UK soldier police demilitarized buffer zone. Another demilitarization zone. Difficult word, huh? This is what comes out. This could be extremely dangerous to peace negotiations. If it is shown that this plan is actual, if it is shown that this plan leaked out of the U.S., if this is shown that this came out of the White House, Susie Wiles will be looking for you. She doesn't like leaks. She doesn't like attitude. She doesn't like dissension. She doesn't like anyone usurping the authority of President Donald J. Trump. And so we may have a full-scale disaster on our hands. As Washington, D.C. shakes, Trump and Musk's dismantling of government is shaking the foundations of U.S., there you have it again, democracy. But how? How is Elon Musk doing all this? Well, as we expand and we continue on through this podcast, I'll give you all the details of it. I hope that those of you who haven't joined us at Restricted Republic yet will. As I continue, these podcasts get rather long. We're already at about 30 minutes. Well, they extend a lot longer than that. That's what I work day and night to do. And it's to support my family over at Restricted Republic. I always promise you here you'll get the headline news and then the details, the in-depth details, the idiosyncrasies, the intricacies of what's happening. So I hope you'll join me there. It's an amazing way to support us in this continued news effort that requires details, not just talking points. I hate talking points. No, I want to get you in. I want you to understand, because I want to weaponize your mind and how to comprehend, process, and understand what's happening in this crazy world around us. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.